What's going on, you bunch of heathens? We're back with another video. This time we are checking out a new person on the channel, I believe. I think I've seen their stuff around, but I have never actually clicked on it. Fascinating horror. Videos called One Faulty Weld, 123 Dead, the Alexander Keeland, which just sounds hella interesting to me, which is why I wanted to check it out. I don't know why. I find I find industrial disasters, weirdly enough, like super interesting. So when I saw this, I was like, oh yeah, that's a pretty interesting title, because I was trying to find some other stuff. Like, I didn't want to do only be doing World War II history and shit like that. So here we are. The original video is linked down below. Make sure you guys check it out. Let's jump in.
On the 27th of March 1980, off-duty workers on board the Alexander L. Keeland semi-submersible oil platform took shelter inside the accommodation block as, outside, the wind howled and towering waves smashed against the metal structure. Some read, some played cards, and some settled in the cinema room for the screening of a cowboy movie. Despite the weather, it was another normal day for them on board the Keeland.
That's how so many of these go.
It was until, with a series of deafening bangs, the entire structure lurched to one side, beginning the worst oil drilling disaster in Norwegian history.
Oh, so it's Norwegian. I don't know why. I assumed it was like British or something. I don't know why it went in with that in my head, but okay.
The Alexander L. Keeland was a semi-submersible oil drilling rig built in 1976 in a French shipyard, then delivered
those cool
to the
fucking
Norwegian
things.
company Stavanger Drilling. In common with other semi-submersible vessels, the Keeland did not rest on the seabed, but instead stood on weighted pontoons under the surface of the water. These pontoons were deep enough to not be affected by wave action, and when combined with anchor cables, the Keeland, like most semi-submersibles, was very stable. The Keeland was mainly used to accommodate workers who were carrying—
You know, these semi-submersibles, dude, I love the engineering behind these is super fucking interesting. I love them. Like, oh yeah, we're gonna flood it somewhat, anchor it to the fucking sea floor. We have a fucking floating city. Like, that's so
operations
cool.
on other rigs. Indeed, it was upgraded in 1978
or floating town,
with
I think,
more
is more
accommodation
appropriate.
units so that it could house a total of 386 workers. The accommodation blocks were cramped but comfortable,
maybe village,
with bunk beds, canteen facilities, bathrooms, and even leisure facilities. These included 2 small cinema rooms and a makeshift gym, with a table tennis table and weights. The canteen was a popular common area, where meals were served 3 times a day, and free drinks and snacks were usually available. Those who lived aboard spent most of their time working, although in their free time they would play games, watch films, and even fish. In March 1980, the Keeland was located in the Ekofisk oil field in the North Sea, where it was supporting the operation of the Edda 27C drilling platform. The Edda had a very limited amount of accommodation on board, and so the majority of its workers lived on board the Keeland, moving back and forth via a gangway between the two.
Dude, that's fucking terrifying to think about. Second off, can I just say, this is so cool that they have so many actual pictures of, like, what happened, of, like, daily life and shit.
Weather conditions on the 27th of March 1980 were poor during the day, and grew worse as evening approached. Some workers who were due to go home that day had to remain on board, as helicopter transfers back to land were cancelled. For safety, the Keeland was moved away from the Edda, as both platforms were assailed by howling winds and waves up to 12 meters, or 39 feet, tall. On board the Keeland were 212 men, most of them off duty. Many were relaxing in their bunks, but around 130 were either in the canteen or the cinemas. That evening, a classic Western movie was due to be screened.
Wonder which
Before
one.
it could begin, however, at around 6:30 p.m., there were 3 loud, resounding bangs. The workers who lived on board the Keeland were very used to the platform's constant groans and creaks.
Yeah, but very large bangs? That freaked me out.
These noises were new and unfamiliar.
Yeah,
and
so
many
instantly
knew
get
that
fucking
something was
worried.
amiss. Moments later, the entire platform tilted sharply to around 30 degrees, sending objects, people, and furniture tumbling across its decks.
So super quick then.
One of the 5 legs supporting the rig had broken away, and an anchor cable had snapped as the structure listed. A frantic evacuation began, with workers seizing life jackets and trying to reach the platform's lifeboats. Some were not wearing shoes at the time and struggled for purchase on the now sloping floors. Others were working in the kitchen and sustained or narrowly avoided burns.
Oh, that would suck.
Heavy furniture blocked exits, forcing people to smash and clamber out through windows. There were 7 lifeboats and 20 life rafts on board, more than enough to accommodate everyone. But reaching them, getting on board, and successfully deploying them was an almost impossible task.
Well, yeah. Because depending on which leg it was, like these ones specifically, like if it's sloping the other way, it'd be a bitch and a half just to get there and then getting them down. Or if you're even on the other side and it's sloping this way, they're going to be farther out away from you. So yeah, in theory, yeah, it has enough for everyone, but just getting to them is going to be almost impossible.
The list of the platform made some lifeboats unreachable.
Yeah, they're going to swing away.
Others were loaded and lowered, but could not be released from the cables which attached them to the platform. This was due to a safety mechanism that prevented lifeboats from being released when their cables were under tension. This was intended to prevent accidental early release of lifeboats while they were being lowered.
Yeah, but now you can't just release them in general.
Being lowered at an angle into the water, it meant that only one cable would release, leaving the boat tethered to the platform.
Which is kind of counterintuitive.
In one boat, survivors were able to sever the remaining cable with an axe. But in another, the still tethered lifeboat was thrown against the platform by violent waves and smashed to pieces.
Oh, that's
casting its passengers into the water. As desperate workers struggled with the lifeboats,
I mean, at least they weren't just killed, I guess.
One after the other, until just a single cable remained. The only thing preventing the platform from capsizing completely. Workers who had fled to the highest point were alongside, or in some cases clinging to this cable when, finally, it too broke. The force of the snapping cable...
Oh, no. I've seen what... Like just ropes in general. I've seen what they can do, what happens if they snap, especially something that big under that much tension. Like no fucking thank you whatsoever. Like I forget what it was. It was either a cruise ship or a cargo ship. It was frozen. It was a frozen line that someone hadn't gotten off, and when they pulled out, you could see it, hear it, and see it stretching. And it finally snapped. Like, holy fuck.
Caused numerous fatal injuries.
Yeah, not a surprise there.
Just 20 minutes after it had first begun to list, the Keeland capsized entirely. Only one lifeboat had been successfully launched in this time. Survivor Anders Hellickson later gave this...
I missed it. 20 minutes. Fucking 20 minutes for this big ass fucking rig to go under.
Account of the disaster. I get the last life vest. The man behind me doesn't get a vest. He's a man from Telemark who lives in Kristiansand, named Olav Lear. He didn't survive. I get the vest on and climb higher.
Oh, that's... No, and this is after the fact, and he knows he didn't survive. Oh, that'd be a horrible feeling. Just, I get the last vest. The man behind me doesn't get one. His name is Olav. I forget his last name. He didn't survive. Like, God, that's a horrible feeling to have.
Each other. I feel guilty. I go up behind the winch where the anchor chain is, as high as one can go. I stand there for a while and think. Just before I left, I had learned that my wife is pregnant. My dad never had a dad. Cousin Stig never had a dad. His dad also died at sea. Now my child will have no father, for now I will die at sea.
Oh,
In
that's
our family,
also...
all fathers die at sea.
Oh, that's a scary thought to be having, of just shit. I didn't have what, like, no one in my family, they've all died. Oh, that's terrifying. You want to be the one to get home. You don't want to do that.
The row of cabins
fuck.
is now full of water, pushing out anything on the inside. The platform tilts more and more. I jump as the rig
That
tips.
is very terrifying.
I go far down into something bubbly and a strong undertow. When I come up to the surface, the rig is gone. Without a vest, I would not have survived. Water rushed into the accommodation block.
I guess it's a good thing you got the last one then, I guess.
For maintenance reasons, flooding through the structure and drowning all those who remained trapped inside. Survivors found themselves adrift in extremely rough waters, clinging to debris and to each other. Some survivors clung to an overturned lifeboat. These enclosed boats were designed to automatically right themselves, and this boat did so, dragging several survivors underwater in the process.
Oh, that's
Others,
sad.
however, were able to climb aboard and take shelter there while they awaited rescue.
That's good.
Rescue was slow to arrive. A support...
Whenever it comes to these fucking disasters, it's always fucking slow to arrive. Always. Fuck's sake.
vessel, the Silver Pit.
Like, I legit think of all the disasters that I've heard about, and every time it's always just like, yeah, rescue was always slow to arrive or it didn't come. Like, I hate
which
that.
was moored nearby, took more than an hour to arrive through fog, wind, and high waves. 7 survivors, through an incredible feat of stamina, managed to swim to the nearby Edda, where they were plucked from the water by a basket lowered by the Edda's crew. When rescue vessels did arrive on scene, retrieving survivors from the water was extremely difficult. The Smitloid, a Dutch vessel, arrived on scene just over an hour after the collapse. Though its crew could hear people calling for help, they could not see them through the fog.
God, that's crazy footage.
Were empty. Despite being within shouting distance of survivors and making every effort to retrieve them, the crew of the Smitloid were unable to pull anyone from the water.
Oh, that's depressing.
At last, 11
so close,
hours
but
after
so
the rig
far.
capsized, weather conditions calmed enough for helicopters to retrieve survivors from drifting lifeboats. The search operation continued for days, but with little hope. In total, of 212 people on board the rig when it capsized, 123
Over
had
half.
been killed.
Over half
In the immediate
were
aftermath,
killed.
the Norwegian government launched an inquiry into the disaster. The failure was traced to one of the platform's 5 massive legs. A brace that supported it had failed, leading to the complete failure of the leg, which had broken away, precipitating the disaster. The failure of the brace was attributed to a single improper weld that had allowed fatigue cracks to form over the years the platform had been in use.
One weld.
The Norwegian owners of the rig blamed the French manufacturers for the original welding defect. The manufacturers blamed the owners for not anchoring or maintaining the platform appropriately. Despite this dispute, the owners of the rig did pay some compensation to the families of those who had died and been injured in the disaster.
So that's the actual failed brace in the museum. Holy shit, that tore that shit.
After a 45-year campaign, the Norwegian government also finally agreed to contribute to compensation for survivors and relatives. The failure of the brace
took too
was
long,
the
but
initial
hey,
cause
at least
of
it
the
happened.
collapse, but many other factors had greatly worsened the severity of the disaster, or removed possible redundancies that might...
That just makes me think of what my dad used to do. He used to do NDT, non-destructive testing. They would X-ray, he'd go out to pipelines and X-ray the welds to make sure there's no cracks, to make sure they're safe. That's instantly what I fucking think
have
of.
lessened its impact. For example, only 8 anchor cables have been used to anchor the platform, as opposed to the 10 that should have been used.
Why didn't they use all 10?
Doors in the accommodation block had been left open, while if they had been closed, survivors within the block might have been able to find air pockets in the overturned structure.
Okay.
The lifeboats that could not
safety.
be freed from their cables might have saved numerous lives if a different release mechanism was employed.
Okay, I don't think that. I think that's just they didn't really think about that happening. Which, yes, they probably should have, but I wouldn't necessarily blame that on the company. I think that's just in general. I think that's just in general, like, the common mechanism that was used for it, you know?
Further, it was found that the attempted evacuation had been chaotic and less efficient than it might have been had there been a better emergency command structure and a better emergency alarm system in place.
Okay, yeah.
In the light of this massive loss of life,
I can see the company, I
changes
guess.
were made by companies operating rigs in the North Sea and by the governments that oversee them.
I think it should just be standard overall.
These included changes to the command structure on board oil platforms and physical changes to lifeboat release mechanisms to make them easier to deploy in challenging conditions.
I think that should have already been done, but this was, what do you say, the 70s, I think? So I can forgive it. And deliberate, yeah, I think it should be easier to release, but it has to be deliberate. Which is just more shit that has to go into figuring it out that people don't want to spend.
Several attempts, the Keeland was righted and drained. Bodies were recovered from the accommodation block, and it was then towed to a Norwegian fjord and scuttled there. It remains abandoned to this day. In 1986, a memorial to those who had lost their lives was put in place near Stavanger in Norway. It took the form of a huge, broken chain, beneath which are several panels bearing the names of the dead.
That's nice. I'm not sure if I would have. I was thinking, oh, it'd be cool if it were like a museum or something, but it's like, I don't necessarily think that'd be in good taste. I don't know. Let me know down below what y'all would think. Like make it like a Norwegian sea, the Museum of Norwegian Sea Safety or something like that would be pretty interesting to explain all the, like, yeah. I don't know. It's a really good video. I like them. I'm gonna have to check out more of their shit. Well, that was a fascinating horror. The Alexander Keeland disaster. It is amazing that, 80. It was 1980. I'm seeing that here. That's really depressing. Make sure you guys check it out. It's linked down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, you guys take care of yourselves. See ya.